a title that I strongly recommend. When the ill-fated Spider-Man 3 movie rolled around, obviously another video game had to be made. And since Treyarch had found lightning in a bottle with Spider-Man 2, they pretty much just remade the game only with a slightly bigger map. So why does Spider-Man 3 suck? Which was awesome, how did this game turn out so bad? The answer to that question isn't really that simple, so let's dive into this game and see if we can figure out what went wrong. I should say, think of it, Spider-Man 3 and the Transformers games were all published by Activision. Kiss my ass, Activision, right after Ubisoft is done back there. I really like the picture of Spider-Man on the game's title and loading screens. This picture captures perfectly how I feel when I think about how I paid money trying to control the camera with any accuracy in this way, but this process feels so unnatural that you have to stop moving before you try manipulating the camera. This game's entire control screen is just a giant cluster. Most Wii games relegate the task of camera controls to the control pad, but Spider-Man 3 uses the control pad to switch suits, which we'll talk about in a minute, and to activate your camera. The single most worthless bullcrap side quest in the game. The game will give you free experience. Happens to change which gangs control the city, so doing patrols for the police literally accomplishes nothing.
Need to let me go, Webhead. Otherwise I'm gonna miss that private debate we got set up for the city council member we kidnapped.
Okay, it's time to go and free a hostage and... What? Okay, I was tasked with going to free a hostage before the gang killed him. A timer in the corner gives me 60 seconds to reach the hostage, and the game failed me and the mission after 9 seconds. Stupid game, I had 51 seconds left. How do you screw up programming a timer? Yeah, this game is full of little programming bugs and glitches, the most annoying being running out of time when you haven't run out of time, and the funniest being when a civilian switches voices.
You ain't such a bad guy after all, Spidey.
You probably saved my life, Spider-Man. I'm definitely testifying against the Dragon Tail Brotherhood.
So yeah, forget the mindless, repetitive, monotonous, frustrating, boring crime patrols. I'm just going to do the story missions. Now, the main problem with the Spider-Man 3 movie is that it has too much plot crammed into one film. The primary problem with the video game is about how you killed his father, Dr. Connors complains about, nothing, and Jameson just shouts, "You're a bomb!" If you don't feel like fighting your friends, you can just climb up a wall until your black suit recharges. The enemies won't even try to pursue you. It doesn't occur to Shriek to try shooting you off the wall. You can just chill up here until your suit recharges and watch them impotently beat their heads against the wall.
Brilliant!
So, Shriek's black suit gives her the power to turn people into vampires, create sonic blasts, mind control other people, move things with her mind, and project illusions, and Spider-Man's black suit gives him the power to punch things slightly harder. I think that I got the shaft in this particular exchange. After the boss fight, Shriek turns Morbius back into his original form, but now Dr. Connors and Spider-Man have to find a way to turn Shriek back to normal. And then you go fight the Sandman, and the game never mentions Morbius, Dr. Connors, or Shriek ever again. You never cure Shriek, you never resolve that storyline, you just move on to the boss fights with Sandman and Venom. Activision did not give a shit about this game. And this, third from the last mission of the game, I'm going to use the black suit for at the end of the game. All of the gangs are gone. All you can do is go on crime patrols for the police, which accomplishes absolutely nothing aside from getting more experience points that you don't need anymore. So I guess that what I'm saying is, once you've completed the game's main story, you've officially seen everything that there is to see in the game. You can keep fighting repetitive gangs to get upgrades that you don't need, and you can keep looking for collectibles that don't have any significant reward or payoff, and that's it. That's what, 2 side quests for the entire game? I don't think that I can find sufficient words to describe how absolutely boring this game is. This is the first review I've done where I had to replay the game from scratch to write my review, and replaying this game was an absolute chore. The main story is short as hell. The game's side quests consist of about 5 missions copy-pasted and modified slightly a few 100,000 times. The game's combat is about the least involving and least developed combat system that I've ever played, and 90% of the game's content revolves around combat. Web swinging around the city is still fun, I'll admit that, but you can't rely on one small mechanic to carry an entire game. In short, Spider-Man 3 is the prototypical movie licensed game. It's lazy, it's rushed, and it's bad. Select the X-Wing or Y-Wing to stand any chance of surviving. So from a practical standpoint, Rogue Leader only has 2 missions where you can use any ship of your choice. All of those ships that you can unlock, and you'll never use them. And by the way, the endurance level is complete hell. All you do is you fight identical standard enemies that gradually improve in intelligence, and the level ends after you've killed 99 waves of enemies. You're given 6 hours to finish the level for a gold medal. 6 hours! The strategy guide tells you that you should be able to do it in only 3 hours, but here's a little game design tip. That's still about 2.5 hours too long. And you can't stop the level and come back to it later. You have to beat it in one shot. The game actually expects you to set aside 3 to 6 hours of your day to play one mission. If I do happen to have 3 hours to kill, I'm going to watch Watchmen, not play a repetitive level in a video game, shooting down identical enemies until I start praying that I die of boredom. But that's not even the worst of it. Here's Rogue Leader's crowning achievement of pointless splendor. 2 of the game's extra levels have you fly as Darth Vader. The first of these levels has practically 0 offensive or defensive capabilities. And while you're taking down the AT-ATs, the AT-PTs keep marching directly towards the enemy fire. You wouldn't think it would be too much to ask for trained commandos to not march into enemy fire in ships that are constructed of cardboard. I don't mean to fixate on this, I'm just trying to think of a rational reason why I have to escort 3 tiny ships that die in one hit. But as hard as Rogue Squadron is, the difficulty is placated by an infinite lives code that's built into the game. All you have to do is go to the game's password screen and type in, "I give up." No, I'm not even kidding about that. Also, if you go to the password screen and type in chicken, you get to play a demonstration level where you drive an AT-ST blowing the crap out of a ton of enemies. Best Easter egg ever. Oh wait, second best Easter egg ever. There's also a code that turns the V-Wing into a flying car, but if you use it, the game kind of... Oh, so that's what a Suva is, a transporter pad. Why didn't you say so? The second half of this level is a platforming section where you have to glide across huge gaps. This could be cool, but it isn't because this level is so poorly designed that where you're supposed to go next isn't always immediately clear. And then comes one of the most frustrating sections of the game, a part where you have to glide in the updraft created by a bird. This part sucks because, well, just watch, and keep count if you like. At the end of this level, you fight another Rakshi on this grid of rafts. The Rakshi throws sticks to destroy rafts, and you can also shoot the rafts to destroy them. The objective is to trap the Rakshi and shoot the rafts to force him into the water. What should be a neat little puzzle game turns into another frustrating grapple with bad controls. See, the game doesn't let you shoot any platform that you want. It only lets you shoot the platforms that the Rakshi is standing on. To trap the Rakshi, you have to walk along platforms so that the Rakshi's attacks cause him to trap himself against a corner. After the Rakshi traps himself, you have to shoot his remaining platforms to force him into the water, but the game only lets you shoot the platforms when it feels like it. So now we've played as all of the Toa, and now we're back to Tahu. At the start of this level, Tahu is busy talking with Takua, a character who has appeared for a few seconds twice in the game. This is where I need to stop and explain something. The plot of the Mask of Light movie is that 2 villagers, Jala and Takua, find the eponymous Mask of Light. The Mask of Light belongs to a 7th Toa who is destined to defeat Makuta, but nobody knows who's destined to become the 7th Toa, so Jala and Takua have to travel across the island to find him. Makuta doesn't want this to happen, so he sends his sons, the Rakshi, to raise the entire island if necessary until they find the Mask of Light. This forces the Toa, who have grown apart in peacetime to come together and stop the Rakshi before it's too late. That entire story is compressed into 2 lines of dialogue at the beginning of Tahu's second level. Rather than make the Mask of Light the main story of the game, or heck, rather than give the game a story at all, this game just has the Toa run around doing completely random things, and then it exposits the plot of the movie when we need to build up a climax. Yeah, the game is almost over. All of the Toa except for Tahu get 1 level each, and that's it. You never get to use Pohatu or Kopaka in actual levels where they fight bad guys. You only get to use them in those 2 sorry excuses for minigames. Seriously, I've told you everything that has happened in the game so far. What story has this game had? We killed some Borok, we killed some more Borok, the Toa leveled up, and we killed some more Borok. We went to the Earth Village and killed a Rakshi, then we went to another village to kill another Rakshi, and now we're going to fight another Rakshi to get some previously unmentioned plot MacGuffin. This is why I sincerely hope that this game was rushed out by EA, because I refuse to believe that LEGO was too lazy to rehash the plot of their own movie! Tahu Nuva's level is hands down the most irritating level in the game. This is another surfing level where you have to reach the end of the stage before the Rakshi does. The main reason why this level sucks is that it has a lot of bullcrap obstacles, like pillars that fall down to block the entire course with no warning. I think the reason why this level is so annoying is because the game has been easy as crap up to this point, and now this level comes along with no checkpoints, almost no health power-ups, and a strict time limit. So after you beat the surfing level, you take control of Takanuva, the Toa of Light, and you go to fight Makuta. And now we are treated to the greatest voice acting that has ever been blessed upon the world of gaming.
Behold, Makuta! I, the 7th Toa, have come to banish your darkness forever.
You defend me? All by yourself? You are nothing. I shall defeat you within the blink of an eye.
The first half of this level has you fighting more standard enemies, which is easy as crap because Takanuva has infinite energy and because the camera actually pulls back far enough so that you can see the enemies. After you kill all of the enemies, Makuta gets mad and jumps up and down until the ground collapses beneath him.
Brilliant!
The second part of this fight has you jump around on suspended platforms. It's pretty easy, except for the fact that the camera has gone back to sucking. The camera is locked into a location that gives you almost no depth perception, which means that the odds are good that you'll die on accident from slightly missing a jump. Swamping you with enemies that have increasingly cheap and unfair tactics. I swear, when I was playing the 4th level of this game, I almost rage quit and decided to do this review without having beaten the game. The combat pissed me off that much. Against my better judgment, I persevered and pushed forward, only to find that the combat got worse from there. You know, it's a great idea, mixing enemies that require you to use the shield with enemies that take away your shield if you even try to use it. That's freaking brilliant! The Arkham games also rarely put enemies with guns in its combat section. Do you know why they do that? Because putting enemies with guns in a melee fighting game is cheap and unfair. In Captain America, once you get past the starting levels, there are multiple enemies with guns in just about every single fight. You can't even run up to the jackoffs with guns to kill them first, because once you start punching one of them, the other guy with a gun still shoots you. What the hell does the game want me to do to clear out these enemies without getting killed? Captain America is the first game I've played in a long time that has made me scream at my television. This game pissed me the hell off. The game seems to be under the delusion that the shield is much more useful in combat than it actually is. The only time that you'll ever use the shield in combat is when you're forced to in order to exploit an enemy's weakness. Because it's a pain trying to aim the shield and the shield doesn't do much more than mildly annoy enemies, trying to use the shield in combat is a massive waste of time. For the sake of my own sanity, let's discuss the more positive aspects of the game. In between combat sections, you have to make your way through little platforming and puzzle sections. About midway through the game, the puzzles actually become kind of stimulating, and the puzzles do a lot to shake up the game and keep it from becoming repetitive. If you happen to like the game, there are plenty of extras and unlockables to keep you playing the game multiple times. Each level has just a pointless stalling tactic to extend the game by maybe a half hour, because now that I've got all of the hats, I can write anything that I want, and the lines are no longer a hindrance. I might as well hit the Jaws right next. You're on a boat in the middle of the ocean, and holy shit! Get up! Get up, damn it! You climb on the boat by mashing the A button, but it's not working. Get up! See, that's what you get for not climbing when I told you to, moron. The objective of the game is to pick up items off the boat and chuck them at Jaws' head before he sinks your ship. It only takes about 6 to 7 hits to kill Jaws, which makes this by far the shortest of the minigames. I think I'll head for the Waterworld attraction now, because the game goes from day to afternoon to night as you collect stamps, and the Waterworld attraction is closed at night. Again, why would you add that in a video game? I better hit it now, that is, if I can ever find the damn place. Where is it? I'm in the right area of the map. Where the hell is it? Oh, there it is. You see what I mean about the map being useless?